got obsessed with reading the Bible. Like all I would do, again, I had COVID money, so all I would do was read my Bible. Hey everybody, I am trying out this live thing, so bear with me as I have lots of technical difficulties. Today we're talking all about beans and dry beans. Now I know there's no secret bullet to being healthy or living a long life, but if you had twisted in my arm and made me pick something, I would choose beans, because research is showing that a cup of beans a day could add 4 years to your life. And if you're just trying to feel better and lose a little bit of weight, they're saying that that same cup of beans could help you lose weight because it is high in fiber, it's high in protein, so you're going to feel full longer and you'll eat less of the unhealthy foods. And it's also good for your microbiome, so you've got a happy gut that digests your food well. So today I'm going to show you one of my very favorite bean recipes that I learned from a friend of mine from the Dominican Republic, and we're going to do that in 3 different ways. We're going to use the Instant Pot to make the Dominican beans, because I can get the beans done in a very fraction of the time. But we're also going to show you how to use the crock pot and also the good old-fashioned stovetop method. So if you've never cooked dry beans before, then we'll tell you everything you need to know right here. So I want to get started on the Dominican beans so that you can see them finished when we're all done. The first thing we need to do is talk about how to prepare your dry beans for cooking. I did want to recommend that if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and put them in the comment section. I won't be able to answer them right away once I get these beans going, and I'll have a little more time to look and see what the questions are and give you some answers. So I'll be there in the comments here in a little bit. So a pound of beans equals about 2 cups, and the recipe we're making today calls for 4 cups of beans, but I'm only going to make a half batch today because I'm only cooking for me and my husband now, and I don't need as many beans in the house as I did before. So this one package will make the batch we're making today, or if you are making the whole batch, then you'll want 2 pounds of beans. Now, there's 2 different methods of preparing your beans. There's 3 technically. There is the pre-soak method, there is the quick soak method, and then there's no soaking at all. And today, for the Dominican beans, I chose to do the quick soak because I forgot to soak them overnight last night. So this is one of those things that you can do if you're forgetful like me. So I've been soaking my beans, or I did the quick soak method, and to do that, all I did was take my dry beans, and I'll show you how to rinse those off and clean those. But then I boiled them for about 2 minutes and then let them sit for about an hour. So let's go ahead and rinse off these beans. One of the tricks to not getting gas is starting with fresh water, so getting some clean water. So let's go ahead and rinse these off. You can't see me very well, can you? That's right. I'm back. So let's go ahead and put these pre-soaked beans, our quick soak, right into our Instant Pot. Yeah, looks like it's gonna fall. And we're gonna drop those right into the Instant Pot. And then I want to cover my beans with water. So I want at least an inch or 2 above the beans. So let's do that real quick. If you don't put enough water in your beans, then they're going dry out and they're gonna burn. So make sure you do put enough water in your beans. I'm gonna pop out some of these floaty things. It doesn't look like enough. Hang on. All right. Let's see if you can see you can't see that. Hang on. I can help. There we go. That's how much water we have in our beans, and we're going to add some more ingredients to that. There we go. All right, so let's put this right into our Instant Pot. And this recipe is so good, but still so easy. I'm gonna fix you because you look a little crooked. Sorry about that. Oop. Here we go. All right, I'll fix that later in the edit. But to make these beans, it's super, super easy. All you need to do is put in about 3/4 of a red pepper and just leave the big chunks because we're gonna pull those out later and blend them up. That's how we make the secret sauce. So we got a 3/4 of a red pepper and 3/4 of an onion. And you're probably asking, why on earth is it 3/4? Why not just put the whole thing in? Because the recipe for the rice that goes with these beans calls for 1/4 of each. So we take 1 onion and 1 pepper and we make the beans and the rice. So let's drop those right into our pot. I don't like to salt my dry beans when I'm cooking them because they will, it sometimes toughens up the skin and they don't cook as well. So I don't salt until the end. So let's go ahead and put our onions and peppers in there. And I need garlic. I need some garlic. I'll get this 1 clove of big garlic. Actually, according to my recipe, we don't even put any garlic in this thing. So I'm gonna skip the garlic. This recipe is in my cookbook. If you don't have my cookbook or you would like to get my cookbook, it's no longer available on Amazon. We are out. But put a comment below and I'll try to figure out how you can get a copy. This is the picture, I don't know if you can see very well, the picture of the beans that we're making today. And we serve it typically with the rice and the tostones and the cucumber salad. It is the most fantastic meal ever. So we are just gonna start the beans. Whoops, this goes in the back. Now when you're cooking your dry beans, you wanna make sure it's sealed. You want to make sure this little jabby-do is on sealed because we are going to pressure cook these beans. If we were to cook the beans without pressure cooking, they would take a couple of hours to cook, and we don't have a couple of hours. I don't have that much to say. So we're going to get these done in, the instructions say 5 minutes, but I like my beans a little well cooked, so I'm going to go for 8 minutes. So all we have to do is turn on pressure cook. And we're going to choose the bean button, and then we're going to change this time. Whoops, hang on. We're going to go pressure cook, and then we're going to just change this time. Again, it says 5 minutes, but I'm going to go for 8 to make sure that they're cooked all the way through. Well, let's go 9. There we go. Now we're cooking. Different beans take different amounts of time to cook. So pinto beans will take about 5 to 8 minutes in the pressure cooker and about an hour or 2 on the stove and about 8 hours in the crock pot. And so depending on what kind of beans you're making, you're going to want to check your instructions, check Google, and make sure that you're cooking for the right length of time. One of the longest cooking beans is garbanzo beans, and one of the shortest cooking beans or legumes is lentils. So just check your labels and see how that's done. So while those are cooking, I want to go into the different methods of cooking of the dry beans. When they come out of the when they're all cooked and they come out of the Instant Pot, I will show you how to make that secret sauce that makes them so delicious, okay? I made myself some notes so I wouldn't forget anything. All right. So for the crock pot, I have a friend who has a cookbook called Fast Cooking in the Slow Cooker, because sometimes I think the crock pot is a little bit faster way of cooking things. Even though it has to cook for a longer period of time, there's a lot less hands-on time. You can put everything that we put into here right into this crock pot and turn it on either the night before or right before you leave for work in the morning, and you come back and you've got a whole pot of beans that's freshly cooked, smells delicious, and tastes fantastic. So that's your crock pot method. You're going to cook it on high or cook it on low for the 8 hours. If you want to get it done faster, you can cook it on high, and it'll get done in about 4 hours. So and stovetop is very similar in that you're going to put everything into this pot and put it on the stove. Okay, sorry about that. I don't know how to turn my phone off from giving me calls when I'm talking to you. Oh, I know, I think I know how. Anyway, so to get the beans started in the